3 firewalls were set up around the entire snow worship cult. A large amount of burning materials were dumped below. As soon as the zombies approached, the burning materials were ignited. The density of the zombies was very high. Once the firewall burned, it would burn a series of zombies to death. "Aim at their legs!" Xiao Honglian stood at the front line of the battlefield with a serious expression and commanded the battle. During these 5 days, the humans were also making various plans. The zombies understood their fighting style, so they were also improving their own fighting style. "You zombies are unkillable, right? All we need to do is to cripple you and make you unable to move." The muzzle of the heavy machine gun spurted out blue flames. The muzzle was aimed at the legs of the zombies rushing in front. Soon their limbs flew everywhere, and their lower bodies were cut off as expected. After the zombies in front fell down, they lost their ability to move, but they still roared and crawled forward. However, they were stepped on by the zombies behind them and rushed forward. The zombies were accelerating, and their speed was as fast as that of wild beasts. And on various lines of defense, a large number of soldiers were ready to go, waiting for them. They injected themselves with red military stimulants in advance to allow them to fight longer. After the zombies passed the first few lines of defense, it was time for these soldiers to appear. And the last line of defense was undoubtedly the most powerful mutants of the 5 major forces. The fully armed human warriors had already rushed up with axes and machetes in their hands. However, the huge copper-armored corpses were not in a hurry and stayed behind the zombies. There were not many copper-armored corpses. There were hundreds of thousands of ordinary zombies, but there were only a few hundred of them. However, the combat effectiveness of these hundreds of copper-armored corpses was not weaker than that of mutants. When Xiao Honglian saw them, her scalp was numb. She clearly remembered that it was this thing that tore her subordinate Dong Hu to pieces. "How can we fight so many copper-armored corpses?" Zhuge Qingting said in astonishment. He thought that the number of such copper-armored corpses was very rare. But now there are hundreds of them. Xiao Honglian's sword eyebrows were raised, and he shouted in a deep voice, "What are you afraid of? We will kill as many as come!" At this point, there is no room for retreat, only a fight to the death. Even if the scale of the zombies and the number of copper-armored corpses are beyond imagination, there is no choice but to fight. They didn't know that Zhang Yi had already regarded them as his prey on the high-rise building. He changed to a heavy and huge anti-material sniper rifle, and the special bullets were already loaded. Zhang Yi lay on the balcony and aimed at the triangular head of a huge bronze-armored zombie. To be precise, it was its eyes. "Give me a surprise!" The roar of the anti-material sniper rifle sounded at the back of the battlefield. The armor-piercing bullet made of special materials, which was blessed with the supernatural power of the strongest space-related mutant in Tianhai City, shot into the head of the bronze-armored corpse fiercely. The huge impact force made it fall to the ground directly. The skull defense of the bronze-armored corpse was indeed amazing, and the bullet did not penetrate its head. But the moment the high-energy bullet entered its cranial cavity, it began to burn its brain. When Zhang Yi saw this scene, the smile on his face was unusually obvious. Sure enough, it succeeded. Zhang Yi knew that the copper-armored corpse posed the greatest threat to human forces, so he began to snipe the copper-armored corpses hidden in the zombie group. They were too big, and there was no need to deliberately look for them. Zhang Yi turned the muzzle of the gun and shot at the copper-armored corpse's eyes. The roar of the anti-material sniper rifle resounded throughout the Snow Worship sect's base camp. They were still terrified by the appearance of the copper-armored corpse in the last second, and the next second they were shocked to find that the copper-armored corpse was shot like leeks. Who can actually shoot the copper-armored corpse? They looked back in the direction of the bullet, and all they could see was the figure of Zhang Yi holding a sniper rifle on the high building. Xiao Honglian, Wei Dinghai, and others were stunned. Is this Zhang Yi's strength? They couldn't help but think of the situation in the last battle of the 5 armies. Zhang Yi, what a terrible man! Xiao Honglian couldn't help but mutter to himself. Wei Dinghai also sighed. It's better not to go against him in the future, otherwise he will kill you one day. But now, Zhang Yi is their comrade in arms. On Xingtian's side, he rode on the back of a tall demon wolf, his expression as tough as an indestructible piece of metal. A white light emerged from his unyielding body, covering his entire body and finally spreading to all the soldiers behind him. Xingtian Legion. This ability covered the entire army, bringing a huge morale and combat power boost to the soldiers. Their body shapes even changed visibly with the naked eye, becoming more majestic and capable, and their spirits were improved by several levels. Kill! They held huge battle axes and roared to the sky, and the roar even covered the roar of the zombies. Xingtian held a battle axe in his right hand that was taller than him and as thick as a door panel. He jumped high from the demon wolf and took the lead to smash heavily into the center of the zombies. The huge battle axe swept through the air, and it set off a huge storm, chopping dozens of zombies around him into two. Huge demon wolf also jumped into the zombies, spewing out huge cold air from its mouth, freezing a large number of zombies into ice sculptures. It swung its body hard and smashed the ice sculptures into pieces. Among the 5 major forces, only the passionate brothers of the Qingpu base dared to fight the zombies in this way. If there is any side with the least pressure, it is unexpectedly the Chaoyu base. However, on the battlefield filled with blizzards, Wei Dinghai's Ice and Snow Lord was too powerful. Maybe I'm not very good at one-on-one, but in the field of ice and snow, I am the king. Wei Dinghai was covered with frost armor and raised his hands high. In front of him, within a range of thousands of meters, the ice and snow, more than 10 meters thick under the ground, exploded. Thousands of zombies were caught off guard and fell directly into the snow pit, buried by the heavy snow. With Wei Dinghai's ability, it was not too easy to clean up the miscellaneous soldiers. Although these zombies cannot be killed, their purpose tonight is very clear, which is to delay the attack of the zombie tide and buy time for the investigation team. On the other side of the battlefield, some soldiers have to fight with large rats. The gap in numbers was still too big, and the giant rats' ability to break through defenses could bite through their combat uniforms, causing great trouble to the soldiers. On the battlefield, the bronze-armored corpses that were supposed to be the killers of the zombie tide were sniped one by Zhang Yi, who was prepared. This greatly reduced the pressure on the entire coalition. Otherwise, just to deal with these bronze-armored corpses whose combat power was comparable to that of mutants, the coalition would need to sacrifice a large number of lives. Although the following battle was still dangerous, at least the situation could be maintained. When Zhang Yi was fighting, he had a question in his mind. The defenses of the snow worship cult were so simple that they were almost non-existent. They had no high walls, no barbed wire, and relied on a group of fearless believers and most mutants. How did they not be destroyed by the zombies for such a long time? "It's really puzzling," Zhang Yi said as he turned the muzzle of his gun and killed a bronze-armored corpse in the zombie tide. There were too many zombies in the hundreds of thousands. He killed more than a dozen bronze-armored corpses in succession, but the other party had no way to communicate with each other, so they could not take precautions. There were too many of them, and they could only execute simple commands. Maybe it was, "Kill everyone here." Bian Junwu and others, like last time, went around to the rear of the zombie tide. They used satellites to observe the movement of zombies from a distance. The zombies that emerged from the subway tunnels soon reached hundreds of thousands, and they were still emerging. Such a terrifying scene made anyone gasp. "How many are there? There can't be millions of them," Kong Sheng said with some worry. "I don't know how long they can hold off the zombie tide attack." Wu Di crossed his arms and sneered, "Don't worry, they will fight to the death to survive. As long as we can buy time for us and solve the underground zombie king, it doesn't matter even if they are killed." Wu Di doesn't care about the lives of these people in Tianhai City. He only cares about whether he can complete the task. Preventing the zombie group from continuing to expand and spread to the surrounding areas is what they and the top leaders of the Jiangnan region are most concerned about. The lives of a few people are not important in the face of the overall situation. Bian Junwu did not refute Wu Di's words. He just wore frog-eye glasses and looked ahead with a grim expression. After an unknown amount of time, no more zombies appeared in the depths of the subway tunnel. He glanced at the land in the distance, where a large group of zombies gathered in the snow worship cult camp. Then Byung-junwoo said, "Let's go! It's our turn!" Byung-junwoo and his companions came to the tunnel and asked Meng Siyu to use her reconnaissance ability to check the situation in the tunnel first and then slowly advance. After investigating, Meng Siyu came to a conclusion. There are still a very terrifying number of zombies below and many bronze-armored zombies. Byung-junwoo said coldly, "It's a trap. They have suffered a loss once before, and they also know that we will use this tactic to carry out a decapitation operation. So these damn beasts are also calculating us." The learning speed of the Zombie King makes people feel terrible. Perhaps their brains are not much different from humans. "Then what should we do?" Bailey Changqing asked. "If there are too many zombies below, it will be very dangerous for the 7 of them to rush in rashly. The key point is that if the Zombie King cannot be killed, everything tonight will be in vain." "Wait a little longer," Byung-junwoo said in a deep voice. "They can still hold on for a long time, let them attract more zombies out." Zhang Yi saw the situation on the scene and also mobilized Liang Yue, Uncle Yu, and Fatty Shu to support the weak links. As for Flower, he stayed beside Zhang Yi as usual. Zhang Yi was a little worried. How long will it take for the zombie tide to end?